Good Monday morning out there, everybody. Happy July 25th out there. It's hard to believe we're only 5 months away from Christmas time here. We definitely had a lot of severe weather yesterday. In this video, I will be talking about upcoming severe weather here through the rest of July. Also a heat wave that looks likely as we move into early August, and kind of looking longer range into early August as well here concerning the severe weather potential. Good morning, everybody. Hope everybody's having a great Monday morning. Like I said here, lots of severe weather reports here across the Northeast, getting down here to the eastern United States, and even across the Rockies here as we head into the Sunday time frame. We had a lot of damaging wind reports here across portions of northern Pennsylvania, southern New York State, getting into the I-95 corridor across western Massachusetts. Some damaging wind reports across the Carolinas and Indiana. Even some damaging wind and hail reports across the Rockies here, getting down to the desert Southwest as well. No tornadoes reported here on your Sunday, but we did have 152 wind reports here and even 7 hail reports, with one of those hail reports being significant for a total of 159 severe weather reports here from your Sunday, July 24th. Now looking ahead here to today, the 25th, Monday, July 25th here, we have that ridge continuing to dominate across the southern United States. We got kind of a subtle trough that will kind of continue to meander across the southeastern Canadian prairies here. We got a little bit of that ridge starting to stretch up a little bit farther to the west here across the west coast region, and that is why we're starting to see a lot more heat alerts being hoisted with the heat advisories, excessive heat watches, even excessive heat warnings across the Pacific Northwest. We even got some lingering heat advisories and excessive heat warnings across portions of Oklahoma, North Texas, Arkansas, southern Missouri there into portions of western Tennessee, Mississippi, and parts of Louisiana as well. Even some heat alerts up there here towards portions of New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, and even portions of Maryland as well. And you can see that with all that heat here on your Monday here today, we got hundreds down into portions of Tulsa here, getting into Oklahoma City, down near the Red River, Dallas, Fort Worth, getting to 102, Tulsa up to 104, 102 in the Oklahoma City area. And even look at all that heat across the west here, 101 up into portions of southern Washington state, 108 across northern California and southwestern Oregon state, up near the Portland area. Yeah, we could be up here in the Portland, Oregon, into the mid and upper 90s as we head here into the afternoon hours. And even across the I-95 corridor here all the way down to the East Coast, some mid and low 90s across those areas. But you do notice the cooler temperatures across the Great Lakes region. That is with a strong cold front that it did push through the other day, bringing some cooler 70s and lower 80s across much of the Midwest and Great Lakes region as we head into this afternoon. Also, due to the fact that we have that strong cold front moving through the Northeast here and the Ohio Valley, we actually do have a slight risk for severe weather across the I-95 corridor from portions there of Maine, and especially from Cape Cod and Boston all the way southwestward here through Rhode Island, Connecticut, getting down here into portions of New Jersey, New York City, down towards portions of Washington, D.C., and into northern Virginia here as we head into this afternoon. Even a marginal risk that extends down here into far northern North Carolina, and then another marginal risk across the Kansas City area, getting in towards St. Louis as we head here into this afternoon. Looking at the individual risks hazards here for the severe weather, we have a 15% area of damaging winds across the I-95 corridor here in the Northeast, a 5% chance here of damaging winds from Kansas City over towards the western Illinois regions here, kind of a lower end threat for some damaging winds there. Less than 5% chance here of some hail, not really too worried about a hail threat here across the United States today. And we do have that 2% chance here of tornadoes across portions here of southern Maine, getting into southern New Hampshire, as well as the Boston area, Cape Cod, getting down here into Hartford, Connecticut, and into New York City. Even a smaller 2% chance of tornadoes here just south of Kansas City into portions of northeastern Kansas and western Missouri as we head into later today as well. But looking here up into the Northeast, we got some scattered showers and thunderstorms that will be firing up here as we head to the early afternoon hours ahead of a cold front. But as we get into the late afternoon, some of these storms will fire up ahead of that front here. You can notice that a lot of these storms are not, well organized into a line. So we got a lot of semi-discrete and kind of discrete storm structures across the Northeast, so that does mean that it raises the red flag for the potential for tornadoes and the damaging wind threat as well. We could see some hail, but again, the hail threat is not as high because the instability is not as high either. And then as we kind of move that cold front a little farther towards the coast here, we'll start to kick that severe weather threat out here from west to east across the Northeast here as we move into this evening and into the overnight hours here, kind of kicking it off the Cape Cod area, kicking it off here to the east of Boston and east of Rhode Island here as we head into your Tuesday morning time frame there. This is what you can expect here for your rainfall accumulation. Again, pretty healthy rains across the Northeast here. Some spots could be seeing upwards of an inch of rain here in the yellows. The darker green shaded areas is about a 1/4 inch to up to 3/4 of an inch of rain. And even where you see the oranges here across portions of New York State, and then it's about, across the, Boston area, getting down into northern Rhode Island here into northeastern Connecticut. Yeah, you can start to see some oranges there. That's up to near 2 inches of rain. So some decent rains are on the way for much of the Northeast here as we head into this afternoon and tonight. Looking here across the middle Missouri Valley, we got that marginal risk as we kind of move into later this afternoon and evening as well. We got kind of a warm wing of moisture and warm air starting to retreat back north with a warm front as we head here into the middle Missouri Valley. That will bring some showers and some thunderstorms embedded in this here as we kind of move into the early afternoon hours today. Then this will kind of propagate to the east and then east-southeastward as we head into later this afternoon and toward the dinner time frame and into the evening hours as well, with some heavier rainfall potentially across far southern Iowa, northern Missouri, western Illinois there, and then really starting to intensify here in the rainfall department across central Illinois and northeastern Missouri. And the worry is actually we do have a lot of training, which means we have a lot of storms moving over the same area here time after time after time as we head into this evening hours, as it's kind of parallel to that boundary. So we're not going to see a lot of north-south movement with these storms. So they'll kind of move from west to east across these same areas. And that will kind of continue as we head towards your Tuesday time frame here as well, into the Tuesday morning time frame across the Ohio Valley, back into the Illinois Valley, and into the Ozarks as well, with a lot of rainfall moving over the same areas. We even got some storms kind of firing up across the eastern Dakotas up there as well, upstream, that could pose a risk for some stronger wind gusts, some smaller hail, and even some heavy rainfall as well as you head into your Tuesday morning time frame. But looking at the rainfall amounts here, pretty impressive across northeastern Missouri, getting into western and central Illinois, all the way down into southern and central Indiana there. The heaviest rain here around the Kirksville, Missouri area, getting in towards portions there of Quincy, Illinois, getting down towards Springfield, Illinois as well. Some of these areas could be approaching 4 inches of rain in that, darker red and even that purple shading area here in the narrow zone from northeastern Missouri into west central Illinois. So we could be talking about some flash flooding as we kind of move in towards that Monday evening and even that Tuesday morning time frame here. And the Weather Prediction Center has multiple areas across the country with the potential for at least a marginal risk for flash flooding, if not several different areas of a slight risk of flash flooding. One of those areas being in the Tennessee Valley into the southeastern Ohio Valley, another area from the Illinois Valley back here into portions of Missouri, southwestern Iowa, southeastern Nebraska, as well as northeastern portions there of Kansas, including the Kansas City area, St. Louis, Quincy, Illinois, Kirksville, Missouri, some of these areas as well. And then a couple slight risk zones here across Arizona, southwestern New Mexico, getting into southern Utah, and then northern New Mexico and southwestern Colorado here as well, with that slight risk for flash flooding as we kind of move into the afternoon and evening. But even as we move into Tuesday, again, we got kind of another feature that we're starting to watch here. We got an upper level trough, a shortwave trough that'll kind of dive in from the north across portions here of the southern Canadian prairies, getting into Manitoba, western Ontario, and eastern portions there of Saskatchewan. That'll start to move southward here, kind of suppressing the ridge a little bit farther south. So what this will do is actually kind of, as it suppresses the eastern side of this ridge across the eastern United States down, this will actually amplify the ridge across the western United States a little bit farther north. So that means a lot more heat across the west coast, and that's why some of these temperatures here are pretty intense here across, Washington State, Oregon State. A lot of these areas could be approaching 100 degrees, if not 105 on your Tuesday afternoon here, from California, Nevada, all the way back here into Idaho, Washington State there, Oregon, Utah, Arizona. A lot of these areas are going to be having some extreme heat, and even that extreme heat continuing across the central and southern plains. North Texas and much of Texas, getting up into portions of Oklahoma, southern Kansas. We got widespread 100s to 105s, maybe some 106s in there as we head into Tuesday, July 26th. But you do notice where those areas that did have that cold front move through to the north, yeah, we may struggle to even reach the middle 70s across North Dakota and the Arrowhead of Minnesota there as we move here into that Tuesday afternoon time frame. Some more refreshing air moving into the northern Ohio Valley and portions of the New England region as well as we head into Tuesday afternoon. And as we kind of move into that Tuesday afternoon time frame as well, as we kind of see that boundary and that cold front start to sag down to the south, we actually still have a marginal risk across the lower Ohio Valley, the Tennessee Valley, into portions of North Carolina and Virginia. We also have a smaller area of a marginal risk across southeastern Wyoming, the panhandle there of western Nebraska, and extreme northeastern Colorado as well, and kind of concerning the risk, mainly just damaging winds, not really looking at too much of a hail or tornado threat, mainly just for some gusty winds in those marginal risk areas. So looking at the NAM model as we move in towards that Tuesday afternoon, evening time frame, just look at all the rainfall out there. We got a couple areas here of rainfall of interest. We got some monsoonal weather continuing across the Four Corners, very beneficial rains there. We got some rainfall moving across the middle Missouri Valley, around the Kansas City area into northern Missouri, and we got that cold front that's still, igniting some showers and storms occasionally here across portions of the Tennessee Valley, into the Mid-Atlantic and portions of the eastern Ohio Valley as well, and with another strong cold front starting to, be attached to that shortwave trough that I was talking about, diving from the north here southward into the northern U.S. from Canada. We have some more showers and storms moving across the UP of Michigan and northern Wisconsin here as we head into Tuesday afternoon as well. And that'll kind of continue. And I'm really worried about this boundary because a lot of these showers and storms will be moving over the same areas, or what we call training, just kind of moving over the same areas time after time after time. And this will actually continue with the flooding risk as we head towards the Wednesday morning time frame. And during that Tuesday to Wednesday morning time frame, again, the Weather Prediction Center is forecasting a large marginal risk here with at least a 5% chance of flash flooding across much of the Midwest here, the central and northern plains, getting into portions there of the East Coast, and all the way back here into central and southern California, central and southern Nevada, and even some slight risk here, up to 15% chance of some flash flooding across southeastern and eastern Missouri, downstate Illinois and Indiana, southern portions there of Ohio, much of Kentucky and West Virginia, including the Charleston, West Virginia area, Cincinnati, getting down towards Evansville, Indiana, maybe even down toward the Carbondale area there in Illinois, and into portions there near the Knoxville area in Tennessee, and then a large area, almost the entire state of Arizona under that slight risk for flash flooding here as well, getting into southern Utah here, portions of southern Colorado, as well as much of New Mexico, with that slight risk for flash flooding on that Tuesday to Wednesday time frame. But even as we move into midweek, guys, we got the upper level trough that continue to push off to the south, suppressing the ridge on the eastern side here of the United States. But as that happens, we'll have that amplification of the ridge across the west coast. So again, look at all the heat out there. 108 up into portions of Washington State, 100 degrees widespread across Oregon State, portions there of Nevada, well into portions there of, California, Utah, Arizona. A lot of that heat, remaining off to the west. We got lots of 100s, although some of the areas here into southern Kansas and maybe even southern Missouri going to start to cool off a little bit here into the 90s rather than having the hundreds on Wednesday. And look at all that refreshing air up into the Arrowhead of Minnesota, guys, all the way up here to portions of North Dakota. Yeah, we got temperatures struggling again to even reach the 70s in some of these areas. So some very, cool air for this time of year, kind of unseasonably cool with that shortwave trough moving in. And again, as we move into Wednesday, I promise this is a new graphic, guys. The Storm Prediction Center is actually still forecasting a marginal risk across that boundary area, very, slow moving kind of stationary boundary across the Ohio Valley into the Mid-Atlantic and lower Missouri Valley, with that marginal risk for strong to severe storms. And even across portions of western Nebraska, getting into northeastern Colorado, extreme southeastern Wyoming, we got a marginal risk for some strong storms as well. Mainly just damaging winds again, not really looking at a hail or tornado threat here on Wednesday. But again, I'm really concerned about the flash flooding across the Ohio Valley here on Wednesday afternoon. Look at another day of some heavy rainfall across Kentucky, West Virginia, getting through Tennessee as well. We got that monsoonal weather continuing with maybe some heavy rainfall and some flash flooding across portions there of the desert Southwest. And that just kind of continues the same areas across Kentucky, West Virginia. I'm really concerned about Kentucky and West Virginia, with a lot of rainfall day after day after day, and all this heavy rainfall continuing even as we head into Thursday morning. It really poses the risk and really accumulates more rainfall here, and kind of, really worsens the kind of flash flooding guidance across this area here over time. And that just continues into Thursday morning. Just these same areas just get, repeated rounds of storms, clusters of storms moving through, some showers and storms, producing the very heavy and torrential rains. So yeah, and we definitely even have some complexes of storms, evolving around here, the northern periphery of the ridge here, with the shortwave trough moving through across the middle Missouri Valley. So yeah, just a lot of rainfall out there. And actually, this is pretty rare, guys. This is actually uncommon. The Weather Prediction Center, on their day 4 excessive rainfall outlook, has actually already outlooked much of West Virginia and eastern portions of Kentucky in a moderate risk, at least a 40% chance of flash flooding across those areas as we head here into that Thursday into Friday timeframe. A large slight risk with at least a 15% chance of flash flooding from Tennessee through the rest of Kentucky, downstate Ohio, Illinois, and Indiana, lower Missouri Valley, as well as portions of northern and northeastern Arkansas. And then another slight risk here across the Front Range of the Rockies from the eastern Colorado, western Kansas, and into northeastern New Mexico as well. So just a lot of flooding out there, and that only continues as this front very slowly, sags down to the south towards the Red River a little bit here as we get towards day 5 on their excessive rainfall outlook here, kind of right along that frontal boundary here. And with the monsoonal weather, we got that slight risk at 15% chance or higher potential of some flash flooding across the Tennessee Valley, back through the mid-south, and getting closer to the Red River there into central and northern Oklahoma, and maybe even the northern Texas Panhandle. Some of these areas do need rainfall, but we definitely don't need that flash flooding. That is for sure. But looking ahead to the temperatures out there, look at all these temperatures rising here into the hundreds, well into the hundreds across eastern Washington state on Thursday. We do have some cool downs coming here for the Tennessee Valley as well as the deep south here, as well as the southern plains. Middle 90s will be a welcome sight across some areas here in Oklahoma and southern Kansas here, where some of these areas have just been relentlessly into the hundreds here for days and days on end. And look at this, guys. Friday, July 29th, we'll actually cool down to the upper 80s across portions there of Oklahoma, getting into Arkansas, much of southern Missouri, maybe even getting down to around just a 100 across Dallas-Fort Worth here near the Red River, and even here into Saturday, July 30th. Again, we're going to start to warm temperatures up across portions there now of the northern plains, and that'll kind of continue with a lot of heat starting to build again as we kind of close the book on July and start to move into that August timeframe. And speaking of all the rain out there, though, guys, the next 6 to 7 days, look at all the rainfall across the Ohio Valley, the Illinois Valley, getting all the way back towards the mid-south here, guys. A lot of rainfall where you see the reds. That's about 3 inches of rain. Where you see some of the lighter orange-colored shadings here, that's 4 to 5 inches of rain. And even in the brighter oranges from portions there, like I said, I was really worried about from portions of West Virginia, including the Charleston area, getting back here into portions of Kentucky, even northern and northeastern Tennessee there, even portions of northern Arkansas. Some of these areas could be seeing upwards of half a foot of rainfall over the next 7 days here. Some of these areas could be approaching 10 inches locally of rainfall. So I'm very concerned about a flash flooding risk, especially with all the Smoky Mountains, the Appalachian Mountains, and a lot of hilly terrain. A lot of runoff is expected across those areas over the next several days. And again, that monsoon season will be holding strong across the desert Southwest as well, with lots of areas and portions of northern and western New Mexico, southern portions of Colorado, much of Arizona, and southern portions there of Utah. Some of these areas could be getting 2 to 5, maybe 6 inches of rain locally across those areas, so that is some good news. Unfortunately for central and southern Texas, again, not much rainfall for the next 7 days, and that is also the same story for portions of the desert Southwest and the portions of Southern California, getting into Central California, and really just the Pacific Northwest underneath that ridge as it builds. Not going to see much opportunity for any rainfall. Even as we kind of look forward here, August 1st through the 7th time frame, the Climate Prediction Center is forecasting well above average temperatures across the Midwest here, getting into portions of the Great Lakes, and that continues across even portions of the Deep South as well, where the monsoon weather is. We expect kind of below normal temperatures here. It'll still be hot, but just kind of below normal for their standards here as we kind of move towards that August 1st through the 7th time frame. And kind of looking at the precipitation anomalies during the August 1st through the 7th time frame underneath that ridge as it starts to build eastward here from the west coast towards the middle of the country again, we'll see below normal precipitation favored across the portions of the Midwest all the way down through the central southern plains. That monsoon season's really going to be heating up into August here, guys. We might see some more additional rainfall into Nevada, Utah, portions of Arizona, California, all the way up into the Pacific Northwest, guys. A lot of these areas need the rainfall, so definitely that is a welcome sight across a lot of those areas. And unfortunately, we're still going to have above normal precipitation across those areas from portions of the Tennessee Valley down into the Deep South, where they probably already by August 1st and 7th time frame will be seeing enough rainfall to go around. So we're going to be watching that area very closely with some flash flooding over the next several days. There is no doubt about that. But even as we kind of move into early August, guys, this is August 1st, and we see that ridge across portions of the western United States. We still got a little bit of troughing across the Great Lakes and Northeast, but that will be changing in a big way as we move towards the second here of the month of April, or as the month of August rather, with that high pressure system starting to pivot its way to the east across the Rocky Mountains here as we head towards the 2nd of August. And then even as we head towards the 3rd of August, it really starts to amplify. That jet stream really starts to push on to the north here. And look at here, by the 2nd of August here, guys, Tuesday, August 2nd, yeah, look at the temperatures out there. Yeah, we're talking widespread 100s all the way up to portions here of the Dakotas, getting into portions of Montana and Wyoming, even some upper 90s potentially up into southern Saskatchewan, southern Manitoba, and even southwestern portions there of, Alberta as well. And then just widespread 100s across, Texas, getting into Oklahoma and Kansas. Some cooler air with a little bit of troughing across the Great Lakes and Northeast, but we'll continue to watch that heat as it builds here across the United States. And like I said, that active storm track is actually going to shift well into portions of southern and central Canada here, as that's what's forecasted here by the high resolution European forecast model here. Yeah, a lot of that ridge is going to dominate much of the United States, and it'll continue to kind of pivot its way to the east again across the central and southern plains as we head towards the middle of August. And as we kind of head towards that first week of August here, there's also some concern, again, with that active storm track across southern Canada. Yeah, it's possible portions there of Manitoba, even Saskatchewan, back towards Alberta, could see some strong to severe storms with all the instability starting to build in those areas. And most of the instability you see on the map here across the central and southern plains and the deep south will actually be kind of capped off, which means there's going to be a capping inversion. So even though you have instability, I don't think we'll really be ringing that out too much unless you're in the Tennessee Valley during that time frame. We could be seeing some storms there. But really, as we move towards Wednesday, August 3rd, we start to really see that storm track try to retreat a little bit, farther south towards the northern plains and upper Midwest, and really starting to introduce a lot more instability into the environment as we move into that time frame. And that just continues. That starts to move its way down to the south, and there are some signs that will start to break down the northern periphery of that ridge once again here across the Midwest and the western Great Lakes, and maybe even down to portions of the western Ohio Valley, and that could yield some strong instability again with the brighter colors on here. Again, don't take the instability here verbatim, but definitely the brighter colors definitely do indicate instability over 3,000 joules per kilogram. So as we move toward that Thursday, August 4th and 5th time frame here towards that that following weekend. So we'll definitely have to keep an eye on that for severe weather as it starts to break down again. I know that's a lot to get to, guys. We're really worried about that flash flooding threat as well as that severe threat, and also all that heat out there. Do stay safe, everybody. Drink plenty of water, as well as stay in the air conditioning here as much as you can. Again, if you work outside, definitely be important to drink water as well. So thank you guys for watching the video. Definitely like the video down below here. Turn all your notifications on as well, and you guys can also comment down below. I'll be able to answer all your questions, comments, and concerns later on today. And most importantly, guys, definitely subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're trying to hit 500 subscribers. Definitely very important, guys, so we can get that community chat here on YouTube. So thank you guys very much, and I hope everybody has a great Monday, and more importantly, a great start to their work week, and I'll see you later on today.